from the current price, if I say to you that we are going for a decade of wealth creation and it's going to be the age of XRP, majority of you guys may not believe me, and no will be the answer from majority of you guys. But looking at the chart like this, it shows that XRP respects the support and resistance most of the time. If you look at XRP's history, it's clear. So what are the chances that XRP is going to reach 3 digits? Now, yes, there are going to be different cases in which you have to check, will that still be respecting the trend line, support resistance, price point, support resistance, let it be horizontal, trend line, or the pattern. And yes, we will have to go through different areas of charting to see how these scenarios will turn out and what are the possibilities or odds that we would see these stuff. Because if that's happening, it should have a pattern, it should have a trend, and it should be consistently doing that over time. And yes, we are able to see something like that. And when BTC is kind of showing the dominance to the red area, if you look at this BTC dominance, it's clear that BTC dominance is either going to break to the upside, keeping the alts down, or it's going to again respect that trend line resistance and go to the downside. And if it does, it may be moving towards 54-55%, and that would be a hell of a roller coaster ride for the altcoins. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use PayPal, Patreon, or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. Now, why do we actually think these events of huge price fluctuation in an asset would come? Because if you clearly understand, central banks are looking for new bullets, maybe a silver bullet, and at the same time banks are looking to enter into this space within 2 years because they need to survive. And for that, now there is a network coming live by December, and it shows that players combining the best of XRP, which is fast settlement using XRP itself, then the smart contract facility from Ethereum, and consensus from Avalanche. So this is going to increase the utility. Already XRP is a utility asset which gives and provides its consumers the best, and now its utility is going to be widened. So that's going to be cool, guys. If you would like to support the channel in an extended manner, you can look at the Patreon link. It would also give you more value for your portfolio with different assets. If you have assets other than XRP, say let it be silver, gold, or any other digital assets within these 100,000 digital assets, you can get the charts, setups, and discuss what you can do to improve your positions. A taste of why money is going to flow into crypto market, and especially those with huge utility and future, has been laid out. Now, if you look at the same in detail, you really can understand central bank officials aren't bluffing when they say that only government spending can rescue the economy, meaning now it's up to governments to enter in and place something, that magic ball in which they can revive the economy. But looking at the total GDP of the world, say $80 trillion before the corona, and right at that time the global debt was like 250 trillion. So how much you would have to do if you are going to forgive the debt? It's going to be impossible. You can do that for small countries, but not for the giants. Say for US, it's now $27 trillion, and the economy is like $22-23 trillion. So you have to pay more than what you actually get. So what are you actually going to do in that particular aspect? Because if it's not done properly or handled properly, banks are going for a ride to the downside, and that bloodbath would kill the economy like 1927 depression. So if you look at that, banks are trying their best to hold on into this particular economical shift, and they are going to look at blockchain technology and they're considering it as, the next thing of the future, which they can use to stand up, because the new technology like Bitcoin is taking things away from them. The brick and mortar banks are kind of laying off their staff. Why? Because they understand that this is not what they are looking at. And when it comes to Money 2020 conference, you can see that they were talking clearly about development of credit default swaps, and now is at the helm of digital assets holding. You have to think that they are talking about money in this decade, and they are talking about digital assets. Now that the utility is going to be shifted from that direction, you can see huge players are going to put money here. Now Crypto Eri in her latest actually put out like huge crypto acquisition of the largest XRP market maker by SBI to provide deep liquidity. Now XRP is all about providing liquidity, and it is really doing that with a combination of banks, financial institutions, exchanges. That really is happening. Now why is it really interesting? Because as we talked yesterday, Chinese government is going to push this so far that this technology would be so hard to get in, because if you look at the other side of the technology, it really gives a lot of room to do these kind of stuff, right? Whereas you don't have that ability to do in XRP. Now, why is it really important? If you're actually looking at prosperity leads to peace, then with this kind of a debt level, there is no prosperity for majority of the nations. So now this is happening. Now this was kind of something which looked impossible some years ago, but now it's getting as a normal agreement. Now even though there would be disagreement from some, that is happening. Peace is coming in. But remember, when this peace is entering in one side, the economic crash in the other side can disturb everything. Now we as XRP investors need to understand how the market is evolving, what the whales are really doing, because if you really look at these instances where the whales are jumping into it, kind of giving you a shift and understanding that we are moving into another direction. As we highlighted in yesterday's video, those who hold 100,000 to 1,000,000 XRP is increasing way much, and when the price is going down, they are not actually diving out. Instead, they are going deep into this asset. Now why are they doing that is one of the huge questions which you can ask yourself, because if you don't see this kind of event playing out, it's going to be distressing for you after a couple of years. Now if you look at this is one of a scenario which I think will happen, and this is another scenario. Now there is a little bit of difference between these, because when I was discussing with one of my Patreon brother, say Greg is his name, and I think he's okay with stating his name out. Now this is the scenario which we were discussing, and where it's kind of based on history. The first peak of the first pump kind of goes towards the all-time highs. So if that is being plotted, there is still a gap between the current price and the starting of that one. So it would be around 0.28. The price should first slingshot towards that and then continue it, right? Even in that case, if you are thinking about the price and the price points, it is valid, because yes, it do tend to keep within the resistance trend line support area. If you look, it started here, it was getting 1, 2 and 3 touches here, and if it is bouncing from here, that's going to be a valid reason to say that yes, it's going to come back and retest around this area, which would be just above the previous all-time high. And if you look back here, this was the all-time high, and the bottom which we put in is just above that one. So it's cool. Now that scenario, even though I agree with that, I would actually be a little bit different. I'll do this something similar. If I do put the same idea, I would do something similar, because say if you look at this percentage of fluctuation and the pattern of fluctuation, if I'm taking that and putting it here without scaling both time and the percentage of fluctuation, I kind of get something like this. So in this aspect, now what is the key difference here? Here in this one, you would be going towards say $160, $170 XRP. Here it would be around 140, whereas say the first pump will be below $3, which is not above the all-time highs, whereas here you would be getting similar to that all-time high. Now that won't be much of a huge difference if you are considering the current price point and your return on investment. But in the long run, it does play. So in my events, when I'm looking at this, the RSI is kind of showing pretty clear that there is going to be a blast off or a slingshot to the upside, because the price has been kept this low for a long time. And whenever you can see when the price is in an extended bear market, the recovery or the impulsive move to the upside seems to be pretty hard. And the past experience from the XRP is clearly mentioning that. Now if you look at this was the previous resistance, again turned into a resistance, turned into a support area, again a support area. Something similar can be found here, and if that is just an assumption, still this is kind of being the support resistance trend line supporting the future price points. Now yes, it may take like mid 2021 or late 2021 to reach this scenario. We are not clear about time point, because even if the price is to move towards this price point within this trend, it can vary. Say it may reach by first quarter of 2021, it can be the last quarter of 2021 or even 2022. But what we are looking at is different times. Now why would I say that we may reach before previous events? Meaning say last time we took like from the top to the bottom, or before the start of the next cycle, we took 404 bars in 3-day chart. So that's like 1209 days. And then from the top here, if we are looking at this area as a start point, then it's like 1065 days. So that is 356 bars. So like we are reducing the number of days before we start the next cycle. In Bitcoin's case, it was the opposite. It was increasing. Now, if you plot the same within the same trend line, you can see the next one, which we plotted, would be 300 days, 302 days to be precise. So that kind of falls into the same trajectory that the number of days taken for the next pump is reducing. So for me, that is clear. Wow, this is going to be a huge opportunity if I don't piss myself out looking at the price saying, oh, it's not going to the upside. And if I accumulate more, that's what I'm really doing. Now, if you look at the price fluctuation, yes, this one showed you huge fluctuation. Now, this is not from the bottom of that cycle. This is just before that impulsive move. It's still around 67,000%. But the next one is showing you that it's going to be 45,000%. But the catch there is, if you measure it from this bottom, say 0.12, or if you manage to buy at 0.13, you can measure it from there. It is going to change hugely, because if you come to the bottom, say if you are going to measure this, say from this price point here towards that top there, you're going to get 154,000%. That's not actually a small deal. And when you compare the price with this, 45,000% and 150,000%, there is a huge difference. Now, why is that difference there? If you were like thinking like a whale, you would be accumulating when the price is going down towards that support level again and again to retest that area. Because it seems that yes, even though we are in a corrective phase, the market is still trending up. This was a consolidation phase. We bumped to the upside, again a correction phase. So you are not going to look towards the direction like this, XRP going to zero. Now, if say you are looking at that case, it's completely up to you. For me, that's nonsense. It's not going to work. Even if whales manage to manipulate and wick price to the downside and kick out a lot of leveraged positions, I don't think it's going to go to zero, considering that the utility is increasing, the money flow into the crypto sphere is increasing. Say this is Ethereum's chart, and if you look at that clearly, you can see the support, resistance, support playing well, meaning giants are entering the market and they are pushing the price up. Only if you look at these price points and study what is happening in the market, you would be able to understand that clearly money is entering and there is a trend forming. Now in the Bitcoin dominance, if we are about to drop from here, it may even wick towards 64%, 65%. And then if it is getting rejected from there, then the price point which I mentioned for Bitcoin, 14,500 in that area, if it is being rejected, that's actually a bit of consolidation bearish symbol. And then it may travel towards 54%. That would give a lot of room for altcoin to run. But remember, if it is coming back down to that level and bouncing from there, it's kind of a double bottom here, which would signal that next time it's going to break through these resistance and move to the upside. And that's going to be a huge move. But right now, if you zoom in and check that, the first area is breached and we are above that in Bitcoin dominance. So now if you look at that, you kind of have a standard deviation. If you plot that, say this is the resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. If you measure that one and put it to the other side, you kind of get a bit of standard deviation there. And that shows there is still a possibility because the RSI is moving to the upside. MACD has crossed to the upside. And if at all we are going to break this level, alts may suffer in the short term and Bitcoin may move towards 20,000. That's going to be surprising a lot of individuals, but it's going to happen. Say if Bitcoin is just doing that, then what are you looking at for XRP? If that is happening for the entire crypto market and also are going to suffer a bit, then the case which my friend Greg highlighted here would be the chance, because if you look at that, there is still a gap of time and price, and that takes us like say 1 week, 2 week ahead, or 3 week or 4 week ahead in time to catch up with that price point. And in that aspect, if BTC is going to the upside and also are going to suffer a bit, meaning it's not like dropping huge, instead it would be fluctuating in the same aspect. Like you heard from Howard Marks, if you understand the value of asset and it's fluctuating, if you hold it through that fluctuation, that volatility, you are going to be rewarded. In the same sense, I'll agree with Greg if the price of BTC is going to break that 14 to 15k and skyrocket towards 20,000, because it may push a lot of money more into the Bitcoin space. And once it hits that 20k, 22k, a lot of profit taking would be coming in, and that profit would be looking towards another asset which is undervalued at that particular time, so that they can maximize their return on investment based on their first capital. So this would be a giant case which I look at in the future. Why? Because when we see things like this, it really gets interesting, because this shows like the surge to unlock noise. It's kind of pissing me out, but the idea here was a surge in cross-border payments is bringing MoneyGram back into the profitability. That is the topic, and I can actually barely read through that. I don't think you guys can actually read it, but anyway, I'll read it. The general game plan here, they are expanding themselves and they are going digital and they are back in profitability. You have to understand that. Once a cross-border payment company is partnering with Ripple and they are in profit, their competitors would look, okay, what they are doing. What are the factors which they are using to be profitable? Now, this article shows clearly the narrative for this decade is clear. Now, if you are not clear, read through this and try to understand what the elites are looking at. AI in fintech market production and demand by 2025. Ripple Labs Inc., Narrative Science, Onfido, IBM, a lot of things are there. And if you go through, say others, say Amazon Web Service, they are still connecting back you into Ripple Labs. For what? The payment processing. Even though Amazon is e-commerce mainly and their web service is allowing you to access different values, the payments for themselves is looking for a different area. Why? Because they are looking at a wide range of customers and how to unlock their profit. They don't actually care about you, but they care about their profit. And if they want to profit more, you should be happy with their services. And that's why they are trying to improve their service. And in this health crisis, it's going to be a huge shift of money. The allocation of money, capital, would be going to different areas. Why? If you look at this market and the talk going in the market, you can clearly understand that they are moving into fintech industry. You can see Apple coming in the space. You can see Google coming in the space. You can see a lot of guys who were traditionally in different markets now entering to payment space. And that kind of increases the competition and kind of pushes towards the narrative where we are looking at a standard ledger, interledger protocol. And these flow of money towards the market would make a lot of new guys come in and trade, and majority would lose without knowing all of these facts. Because if you're just looking for the upside tomorrow or the day after, you may lose big if you don't have all the angels with you protecting your capital. Now guys, I hope you received value for your time, and if you did, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to support the channel more, you can use the PayPal, Patreon or the XRP wallet address. If you would like to unlock more value for yourself, the standard research for any different asset which you want in person, you can use the Patreon. So I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.